Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week I've got some digital marketing tips to share with you from speakers at Brighton SEO. If you've been watching for a while, you know I love to share tip compilations from the bigger conferences I attend. If this is your first time seeing this, I basically grab speakers, experts, and friends at conferences and have them share a quick tip, and then I compile all the tips into a single video. Once again, we have a video packed with awesome quick tips. Check it out.
So my tip is about strategy versus tactics, right? Because people who are in strategy tend to make strategy sound really big, really complicated, and really difficult. They often say things like, you should be more strategic, which leads most people to go, I don't really know what strategy is. Dead simple. Strategy is where you're going, tactics is how you're going to get there. So strategy is all about direction. Which direction are we going to take? And then it comes to tactics, and that's how you're actually going to get there. One is not more important than the other. You need strategy because if you don't know where you're going, you don't know when you've actually got to your destination. But if all you have is strategy, you never go anywhere. You're just like, oh, we want to go over there. But you never get there. Strategy and tactics, both equally as important. Strategy where you're going, tactics how you're going to get there. Thank you.
One of the things that I shared in my talk yesterday was the benefits of diversity. So when you activate multiple facets of diversity, such as age, gender, even geography, your business can make a better decision 87% of the time, which means more money in the bank for you. There's no reason not to do it.
My big SEO tip from Brighton would be to not forget about the value of featured snippets for brand awareness and building authority and all of the benefits of being in position 0. Featured snippets, don't forget they exist.
So, a really simple SEO tip. Find your traffic generating pages where most people are coming to your website and link them to your money making pages. Find your high conversion rate pages, send everyone there.
When you work in international SEO, make sure to use Meta Keyword Stack for Baidu and Yandex because these search engines still recognize this.
You know, I think my tip is don't think of the world of the internet in terms of words. Think of it in terms of topics and ideas, entities. So the world is shaped in concepts and ideas, not in words. So you can call the Eiffel Tower, La Tour Eiffel, or a big metal thing in Paris. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter which language you use, it's the concepts. So think in concepts, not keywords.
So when you're doing offsite SEO, when you're guest posting, when you're appearing on a podcast, when you're appearing on a YouTube video like this one, for instance, make sure that you think about your biographical entity. So make sure that your biography has lots of good entities and good specific entities within your bio so that they can tie it back to who you are, what team you work for, what you do, and make sure that you back that up with things that are on your site. So if you appear on a podcast, make sure you've got a good biography that talks about what you do and all of that sort of stuff so that Google can connect it to the information that's on your website, and make sure you have a good biography on your website that has all of that information backed up by schema and good on-page SEO and all of that stuff so that you can amplify your message and your presence.
My tip is about SEO migration. So I just worked on a really big one for a client and they were like, oh, do we need an SEO? I'm not sure. And there are just so many things that you save big developers from messing stuff up. And the one that they messed up was the whole duplicate content thing. So somebody was in their talk yesterday, Gary Ish, saying, oh, the web is full of duplicate content. I mean, it is and it isn't, but the duplicate content for this example was just the trailing slash. So all the URLs were the same because they migrated them all over really nicely. Good job, developers. They decided to remove the trailing slash because they thought it looked ugly. Those are not the same URLs as far as Google is concerned. All of those were there going to be creating hundreds and hundreds of redirects. If you're going to do migrations and you want to keep the URLs the same, keep them exactly the same. That's my tip.
If you remove your redirects after a year, it's really looking like it's not going to have any impact. We always thought that it loses signals, but Gary Ish in a tweet thread a couple years ago said they don't. I've actually been testing this. I removed a bunch of redirects that have been in place for longer than a year, and right now I'm seeing no impact. We're going to do more testing, do a big case study on this, but this has really massive implications on our industry, the tooling, for domain buying, even recommendations and strategies that we're using. So I'm not taking this lightly, but it really is looking like that's the case, that removing redirects after 1 year won't really affect you.
So something that we've been doing at Studio Hawk lately with clients is taking a look at their content, just because we've been looking more closely at Google's helpful content system, which I think is more important than most people realize. So actually taking a look at the content on your site collectively as a whole. And if you find that you've got a lot of content that's just not helpful, not adding value, doesn't serve a purpose, it's worth looking at that, seeing can it be updated, should it be removed entirely, or if you might want to keep it for whatever reason. But definitely take a look at your site, make sure every page has a purpose so that you don't run into any issues in terms of Google deeming helpful pages unhelpful because the majority of your site contains unhelpful content.
Hi, so what I say is that it's crucial now to get engagement. So keep users engaged and don't make them lose focus. So what is the most important now is user engagement.
Cool. So you need to do way more than include the right words on your website in order to win the ranking race. So now Google has so much data on customers. It knows where you've been, what you do. It has access to all of your calendar, Gmail. It knows absolutely everything about you. So in order to really rank, you're going to need to understand your customers, what they need and what they want. So in order to do that, I really like using 5 love languages to create the right type of content. So making sure that people that like words of affirmation, that I'm actually thanking them on a thank you page, that I'm including little notes, nice little gestures. The only love language I don't recommend you use is physical touch, because that's super creepy. You can't do that with your customers, you'll go to jail. But love language is a really nice way to make sure you're communicating with your customer in a way that actually makes them feel appreciated.
All right, my quick tip is to use your local SEO data for more than making content recommendations and optimizing listings. Make sure you're paying a lot of attention to what your competitors are doing overall as brands and use that to your advantage to take advantage of their weaknesses.
My tip for local SEO and for people that need some help with local SEO when they have businesses is don't give up on GBP support. Be tenacious, be kind, give them the information that they need, and they can and they will do their best to help you.
So, here's the thing. We are done poo-pooing Broadmatch. Broadmatch is a hero, and here's why. Audiences are now baked into Broadmatch, and Broadmatch gives us access to cheaper phrase and exact match. So whether you've always been a Broadmatch lover, whether you're a reluctant Broadmatch enjoyer, or whether you haven't even given it a chance yet, this is the time to leverage Broadmatch because your competitors are, and this is not a US thing, a UK thing, a Europe thing. Everyone's using Broadmatch, so get on the Broadmatch train and get cheaper auction prices and audiences you wouldn't get otherwise.
Okay, so my tip is when you're using a Lighthouse report, you can go into the network blocking tab and you can block scripts that are causing the page too long to load. So you can actually simulate what it would be like if you removed that script to speed your site up.
People are too often looking for the most difficult answer to SEO queries when it is actually the simplest thing possible. Occam's razor is really one of the things we need to be keeping in mind when we're SEOs. We're too quick to think about the impossible answer and not the probable answer. So instead of looking for obscure things that are wrong with a client's website, go back to basics. It could quite possibly just be they blocked the whole thing with robots.txt, or it could be something else. But think simple before you think complex.
Pretty kick-ass tips, right? That's all the time we've got left for this week's episode, so you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.